This is a lesson on the Enrol ID and the payroll number for employees. So if you load up Sabre for the first time, you will find that these two blocks over here are yellow, which means that you cannot edit them or do anything with them. And what will happen is it'll take the seed of the next number being the last number in the database. In this case, the last number is 9999, which means that the next available number will be 1,000 or 10,000. So if I push insert, that's the next available number, and that number will belong to the payroll number as well as the Enrol ID. The reason why we have a payroll number and an Enrol ID is that the payroll number is allowed to be alphanumeric. When you're importing the payroll data into your payroll, you can have alphanumeric numbers and letters for your payroll number. However, the Enrol ID has to be a unique number for it to work on the system because the physical hardware only supports numbers. Anyway, so the first question that's asked is how can you edit this and change them to be your own if you're not happy with what the system is allocating? So I'll just show you that quickly. If you go down to settings and parameters at the top here, here's where the settings are. So you untick the payroll number and the Enrol ID. I would recommend keeping the Enrol ID that it's automated so that you can just change the payroll to alphanumeric. However, in some cases, people want to be able to edit both. So you save that and close, and you don't need to go out of the program. You can go straight back to employee management, and you'll find that you can now edit the payroll number and the Enrol ID, which is great. However, what you have to understand is that every record or every employee entered into the system gets a unique number which is not related to the Enrol ID or to the or payroll number, and that is this little number hidden on the bottom right hand corner over here. In this case, this is the 215th person that was added to this database. So what happens is in the system, every clocking record, every bit of information, fingerprint algorithms, whatever is stored for this employee is stored against 215, not against the payroll number or the Enrol ID, because those numbers can be changed by the user. So that's why we use a unique key for every individual. So what happens is a person might change this number and then find that they can't find clockings for the staff member because when that data was imported into the database, it was imported against the unique number, which is this one on the bottom right hand corner. And we have this quite occasionally for support reasons where somebody has changed a person's ID or taken an existing ID and changed it to somebody else. So just to explain how to solve it so you don't have these problems, the first thing to understand is that when you delete an employee, you can either drag them from here down to the deleted tab, or you can drag them to the deleted icon on the bottom right hand corner here. So when you delete them, it then prompts you to whether you want to delete them off the device, remembering that if you don't delete them off the device, their fingerprints and their records and information is still sitting and stored on that device, so you should delete them off the device. In this case, I'm not going to because I just want to show you the principle of how it works. So what happens is you've now deleted the person, but they're not actually deleted. They're sitting in the database and they're still there. In case one day they want to come back to your office and work for you, you can always move them back to active again. I can't remember who it was. There we go. So Sue-Ann. So if they came back and worked for you again, you'd still have all their history and their information, and all you'd have to do is drag them from there back to current again, and then they would be back as an active employee. The only thing to remember is that you'd have to go to assign to devices, make sure they're assigned to the correct device, and update the device with the data and their fingerprint templates. And then they'll be active again without you having to re-enroll them. Anyway, in the foreseen case where a person wants these numbers to all be in sequence, and if somebody gets deleted, they want to replace them with somebody else, my recommendation is to either just change the name over here, remembering that the history from this date going backwards is still in the database. Alternatively, what you do is you delete the person, so you pull them down to the rubbish bin over here, and once they're deleted, you then go to the deleted items, you select that same person again, and you click purge the selected person. When you select purge the selected person, you'll see what happens. It'll then come up and tell you how many clockings there are for that person that are going to be purged, as well as deleting any other reference to that person forever, never to be got again out of the database, and they'll be gone forever. Now that they've gone forever, you can go back to current, and you can say insert, and you can use the Enrol ID again for somebody new, and you won't have any more problems. Just to explain to you, if you haven't actually purged that person, so if I take a person like Lowell over here with 404, from here, if I now say insert and I add 401, straight away it comes up and says that that person already exists. And that is because the person doesn't necessarily exist in the active members. It could be that that person exists in the deleted, or the terminated, or the not active. Which brings me to another point. The best way to remove somebody from here, the logical way, is to actually terminate them and give a termination reason. So if you pull them to terminated, you can then explain that their contract ended, or you could add another reason. You could say it was death, or whatever it might have been, and then you can allocate that against the person and give some more details here, which you can print and keep it on record that that person is no longer working for your organization. Okay, I hope that helps to explain a little bit better of how the Enrol ID and the payroll number works, remembering that the payroll number can be alphanumeric, but the Enrol ID has to be unique, and also the unique key for each individual.